This is probably the most famous face in the entire world, right? For 500 years, we've been staring at the Mona Lisa. But what has she really been hiding from us? Because behind that iconic smile, there are secrets that have taken centuries to even begin to uncover. It's like a puzzle box, built by a mind that sought absolutely no difference between art and science. You see, this isn't just a portrait. No way. It's a collection of clues. It's this incredible fusion of geology, chemistry, and anatomy that Leonardo da Vinci basically left for us to solve. The man was a composite genius, and this painting, this is his ultimate statement. So in this explainer, we're basically going to become detectives. We're going to follow the evidence from the rocks way back in the background to the actual chemical compounds in the paint to try and uncover all the secrets that have been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Okay, our first stop on this investigation starts right here, in that strange, kind of hazy world behind her shoulders. It's a landscape that has puzzled art historians for generations, and it's our very first clue into how Leonardo's mind really worked. For the longest time, the traditional view was always that this place just isn't real. It's a dreamscape, something Leonardo cooked up in his imagination. The idea was it was meant to represent this perfect harmony between humanity and nature. But a new theory challenges all of that. What if we've been looking for the wrong clues this whole time? What if the answer wasn't just in art history books, but in the rocks themselves? Well, that's the big idea from a geologist and Renaissance art historian named Anne Pizzarusso. Pizzarusso argues that Leonardo painted a very, very specific place, Lecco, right on the shores of Lake Como in Italy. And the evidence is pretty compelling. The bridge in the painting? It's a dead ringer for the 14th century Azone Visconti Bridge. The mountains? They're a perfect match for the Alps that overlook the area. And the rocks themselves? They are limestone, which Leonardo painted in their distinct gray-white color. It all lines up perfectly with the place we know he actually visited. Please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell, share and like our videos. The information in the video is compiled from open sources. Thank you. And according to Pizzarusso, the reason nobody saw this before is because all the experts were kind of stuck in their own little bubbles. Art historians weren't looking at geology, and geologists weren't looking at art. It took someone who understood both to finally connect the dots, a way of thinking Leonardo himself would have loved. But hold on, like any good mystery, it's not quite that simple. There's a counterargument, and not everyone is convinced that Leonardo was just painting a postcard of Lecco. Art historian Francesca Fiorani pushes back hard on this. She argues that looking for a real location completely misses the point of Leonardo's genius. He didn't just copy nature. No, he studied it with an almost obsessive intensity, and then he remade it in his paintings, creating something better, an idealized, imaginary version of the world. So that's the debate right there. Is the landscape a real, identifiable place grounded in hard geological fact, or is it an imaginary vision, a product of Leonardo's incredible mind? Maybe the real answer is it's a little bit of both. All right, for our next clue, we're leaving the landscape behind. Now we're zooming in. We're going past the surface, past the cracked varnish of centuries, and all the way down to the very molecules of the paint itself. This is where we meet Leonardo the chemist. Modern science gives us these incredible tools Leonardo could have only dreamed of. Using techniques like X-ray fluorescence, scientists can now analyze the chemical makeup of a painting layer by layer without even touching it. It's like a chemical time machine. So what did they find? Well, in a microscopic sample taken from the very base layer, they discovered a really rare compound called Plumbonacrite. This is a huge clue. It suggests Leonardo was experimenting, treating his oil paint with lead oxide to create a thick, unique, and fast-drying base layer for his masterpiece. He wasn't just following the recipes of the day, he was inventing his own. And this experimental foundation was totally crucial for his most famous technique, sfumato. It actually comes from the Italian word for smoke, and that's exactly what it looks like. It's what gives the painting its dreamy, lifelike quality. There are no hard outlines. Everything just melts into everything else. But the process he used, it was painstaking. Leonardo would start with an underpainting, then add a translucent glaze, just a whisper-thin layer of oil and pigment. Then he'd have to wait, sometimes for weeks, or even months, for it to dry completely before adding another one, and another. He did this up to 30 times. Get this, 1 to 2 micrometers. That is the thickness of a single layer. To put that in perspective, a single human hair is about 70 micrometers thick. The level of precision is it's breathtaking. It really shows his infinite patience and scientific rigor. Which brings us, finally, to the painting's most famous mystery, the reason millions of people flock to see her every single year, that smile. And this is where the artist, the scientist, and even the psychologist all become one. See, Leonardo was just as much a scientist as he was an artist. He actually spent nights in morgues, literally peeling the skin from human faces to trace the muscles and nerves underneath. He wasn't just drawing what a smile looked like, he needed to know precisely what makes a smile work on a mechanical level. And he used all that anatomical knowledge to play an amazing trick on us. He understood how our eyes work, so when you look directly at her mouth, your sharp, direct vision picks up the fine details, and you'll notice the corners are actually turned slightly down. It isn't a smile. But the moment you look at her eyes, your peripheral vision takes over. It's not as good with details, it just sees blurs and shadows. So it blurs the mouth, and the shadows from her cheekbones create the illusion of a smile. It flickers, it's there, and then it's gone. It's pure genius. So, what do we have? A real landscape, an experimental chemical formula, an anatomical optical illusion. All of these different clues, they all point to a single unifying idea. And here's one last really fascinating theory for you. Some people even suggest the landscape itself is a secret anatomical drawing, one that mirrors Leonardo's studies on human reproduction. Maybe it was his way of weaving his forbidden scientific knowledge right into his most public work of art. And that, really, is the ultimate secret of the Mona Lisa. It's not just one thing. It's a composite. It's the real world of Leco and the imaginary world of Leonardo's mind, all at once. It's the artistic vision of a painter combined with the cold, hard precision of a scientist. It's a fusion of literally everything that fascinated him. Which leaves us with one final thought. Maybe, after all this time, we've been asking the wrong question. Maybe the real mystery isn't who is she, but who was he? The true subject of the Mona Lisa might just be the relentless, brilliant, and endlessly curious mind of Leonardo da Vinci himself.